So, my previous recording that I spent, I don't know how long on, because I really want to know how long. Um, Apparently it does not work because when you minimize the video thing so you can look at your actual notes, it decides to pause your recording, which is great. So, we're gonna try that again. Yippee! This is great. Um, Here we go again, I guess. Let's go. Be looking that way. Okay, at least I can see myself in the bottom left, so I know I'm recording still. So, how many of you have played a sport? Now, how many of you have been overly confident when going into a match, thinking that this is the worst team in the league? Right? You beat them earlier in the season, and you're in the finals, and you get your ass whooped, right? So you're like, oh shit, like I've been there. So that's what this story's going to be about. However, there's something I need to clarify, right? We all know how golf scoring works. You get 1 point for every stroke, 18 holes. It's really similar in sailing. For every race, you get an equal number of points to your finishing position. So if you finish 7th, you get 7 points. Now, regatta is a collection of all of your races and scores. So over 5 races, for an example, you might be a 2, an 8, a 20, a 1, and that gives you a total of 35 points or an average of 7th place per race, right? So sailing, many people think it's just some old guy holding a tiller and a drink in one hand sailing off in the sunset, right? Well, that is true. When it comes to high school sailing, nothing about it is true. Everyone's like super competitive, especially in college sailing. Everyone's out there to win, right? They're always trying their best. And what's super nice about college and high school sailing that it might not seem as accessible to some people, but if you can have a team, all of the boats are provided for you when you go to events. So this is our the backstory to the main story is we had our keelboat qualifier at Bayview Yacht Club, which is in Detroit, in U20s, which we've never sailed before. But these boats aren't used for only high school sailing; they're used for the likes of the World Match Racing Tour. Now, during that 6-hour long drive out to Bayview Yacht Club in Detroit, I spent that entire time looking at tuning guides, online notes. I even watched like some 2-hour long YouTube video discussing sail trim and like body placement and on the U20s because every boat's different, right? It sails a different way slightly, but so I just wanted to learn all those little specifics that I care about so I could outdo our competition. So we also didn't have a coach at this event, so it was crucial that we did our own little research, which I did. We were all in the car together. We're like, okay, we got to do this and do that. And the previous year, let's just say, like, we didn't put together our top team and we didn't qualify. I think we ended up like third or whatever, but only the winner goes. So this year, it was my senior year. And yeah, 3 of the 4 of us on our boat were seniors. So we were showed up determined to win. And we practiced a few times before coming in on different keel boats, but we came out just rocking, and we won 12 of the 14 races by a lot. Usually when we won the races, and then when it was second, it was pretty close. So we demolished everyone. We earned the berth for high school keelboat nationals in St. Pete, which is in J70, which is the type of boat we actually have back at Lake Forest, so we're more familiar with it. So we continued practicing. We even did one J70 event down in Davis Island Yacht Club, which is in Tampa, which is right next to St. Pete, and we sailed against a bunch of other people, not high school, college, but just good people like pros and shit. So we were practicing. We felt really good, and we thought the next weekend, which is when we had the event in St. Pete, we thought we were going to do pretty well, maybe even win the event. So it's day 1 of the Keelboat Nationals, right? We didn't have a coach, but we felt confident, But there was one thing that was kind of like, it was lighter sailing, right? I don't like lighter sailing. I could stand up here for another 2 hours to talk about it, but I really hate it. Everything feels slow. One mistake and you can't get back, right? So originally we were postponed, right? Where the regatta organizers will keep everyone on land so the breeze fills in, right? There's no reason to send people out if they don't think it's going to fill. But, it's like 2 o'clock at that point, we get sent out into some unstable breeze that continued to build, die off, and do all this. And we were just like, it was awful. We were just bobbing around in the ocean, sun, cooking our backs. We weren't in the zone out of it. Everyone was kind of like mentally not checked in. But after a few hours, the breeze started to fill in. But this time it stayed long enough for us to get 3 races off, right? So we started off, the regatta, okay. We got a 4 in the first race, it was going good. Wasn't great, right? Solid first race, right? Not gonna put us out of winning, but it's not gonna win you the event, right? You gotta be at the top. Now the next race was a 6, so 10 points, 5-point average. We're like, okay, this is fine. So we needed to change something if we were gonna, turn it around. So we were all kind of a little, I don't know, I wouldn't say like angry, but we were like anxious that we weren't doing well. And, we started at the last race of the day and we finished last. So that was not good. Worst boat in that race, whatever you want to call it. It was a long, quiet sail-in. And if you know everything about team sports, you know that a quiet team is usually the first sign of a team about to fall apart. So we were all kind of in our zones, like, holy shit, that was awful. Right, we probably dropped into like 8th or 9th overall, probably closer to 8th, like near the back, right? We want to win. So, but day 2, we slept that night, but day 2 looked pretty promising. There was supposed to be a sea breeze coming in. We were in good spirits again. We were just trying to figure out whatever happened. And on our sail out, we made one goal of just like keep a positive mindset and just keep trying. And we got out there the second day and it was still light and shifty because the sea breeze hasn't built yet. And we started the first race, great start, but the light stuff, man, it doesn't like us. It didn't go our way. And we ended up in 8th place that race. It was shit. We were all we were really angry, and our goals of about being positive and just trying to keep getting better kind of got thrown out the window. We were all angry at each other, at the breeze, the fact they made us use their custom smaller youth sails, which were different than the normal J70 sails that we had practice on, so we weren't quite used to them, and we were just mad. But looking up during our argument, our rant session, whatever you want to call it, we saw what we were hoping for. We saw our saving grace. It was the sea breeze. And for those that don't know what sea breeze is, it's when the land heats up, right? It goes over the ocean, it cools down, and then it creates this convection circle, which brings breeze. Usually quite a lot of it. So we were happy because big breeze equals more of a speed game and less variables. So it's in a sense, it's simplified sailing, but it rewarded teams like us that were super, super fast in those conditions. And we were excited. So it kind of felt like a blessing. And we started the next race in that sea breeze. Granted, it hadn't fully built this time, so we got a 3. So it was like, okay, solid, right? But we came here to win, so we wanted to win races. So next race, boom, bullet, right? First. Next race, third race of that day, right? This is race number 6. We had a little incident where our jib halyard our spin halyard got wrapped around the jib when we were taking down the kite. And we were like almost winning that race, so that kind of put us in the shitter. We got a 5 that race. But we crawled back, right? So, and during this, the breeze continued to pick up, and we knew we had a chance to get in the top 5 overall standings, right? Because we had a 4, 6, 10, 8 in the beginning, right? That's 28 points over 4 races, 7th or 8th place average. We were pretty deep. We were probably in the 8th or 9th overall. And we were kind of just hoping to crawl back to a respectable position. But we had 3 more races to go. So we were just looking forward to it. We knew we could crawl back. And boom, another bullet, right? We don't want another race. We were just all in our moment, heads down, making the boat go fast. No one was bickering. I was making good calls. We were all just in the moment, right? And then boom, another bullet, right? And going into the last race, we didn't have any idea what the standings were, as we didn't have a coach to keep us up to date on the scores or tell us like, hey, you're like tied with these guys. You should like, match race them. But we just went all in and we won the last race and we secured ourselves 4 race wins of the last 5 races. And it wasn't a quiet sailing this time, but it was more of like an anxious sailing because we didn't know the results. We knew we hadn't won because one of the other teams was like jumping up and down their boat, and they had been super consistent during the event. So we were kind of hoping that we might have podiumed. Yeah, it was obvious when we did when we came in because Charlie's mom, who was the guy on our boat, was jumping up and down screaming, and we knew we didn't win, but we weren't quite sure where we ended up, right? Because moms can be proud if you like even show up and like do the event sometimes. So we didn't know what that really meant, but upon looking at the scores, we realized we pulled off second place. And going to the last race, we were tied with the team from Texas for second and third, and it was like a must beat them race. And we pulled off the win that race. They were in second, right? We snagged second place by 1 point. And to summarize this, all I have to say is that complacency kills is actually one of the quotes that my coach used to say when we were at work, because he was in the Coast Guard for a little bit. And if you get complacent and you get lazy and you think like, oh, I'm so good and all this, your good habits start to break down and you just can't. So complacency kills. You don't get comfortable and you got to fight for every point. Thank you.